This is Sahar. Sahar and her family left Iran and moved to Edinburgh in 1981 when she was 8 years old. She grew up outside Tehran in a home with her grandparents, aunts, uncles and cousins. If you went to the back of their house, where the fruit tree would offer cool shade during hot summers, you could see the mountains and the sea in the near distance. Sahar would run around the land and play with her younger brother Farhad most days. She loved being outside and the feeling of the sun on her face when she would feed the animals and play with her cat Lucia. They would always make sure to be back on time to set the table for the family meal. After dinner, she would try to put Farhad to bed, but that rarely happened, as he always insisted to stay up and play games with Sahar. Sahar's first memorable impression of Edinburgh was that it was much colder than her home in Iran and a lot noisier and hectic. Her family and she used to be stared at with suspicion wherever they went. She quickly learned English at school, but found it tough to make friends. She was teased a lot because her hair was much darker than of the other girls, and she did not have ivory skin and freckles like her classmates did. Sahar and Farhad would often sit alone during lunch. They were mocked a lot as their lunch boxes were not filled with ham sandwiches and crisps, but with the Iranian food that their mother had made them. Sahar really missed her family in Iran during that time in school, and her cat Lucia, and the mountains and the trees. She remembers the first time they drove up to the Highlands after her father had bought a car. She loved that salty smell of fresh air and the views over the lakes and the mountains. It reminded her of home, and that gave her comfort. Sahar loved those trips to the Highlands. When Sahar started university, she developed an interest in environmental protection. She became alarmed with the rising concerns of acid rain and the rapid destruction of the ozone layer. After seeing a documentary on the harrowing aftermaths of the Chernobyl disaster, she knew the world had to change. She wanted to protect the nature, mountains and the lakes that have always made her feel so comforted and at home, whether in Iran or Scotland. She joined an activist group at her university and planned rallies and protests. They supported the campaign against the Lothian chemical company and their wafting foul smells released around Granton. They joined other protests to campaign against nuclear power and help where they could. During that time, Sahar noticed a change. The darker colour of her hair did not matter. Nobody cared that her skin was not ivory with freckles. To her friends and other activists, she was just Sahar. Sahar who had brilliant ideas. Sahar who made the best signs. Her activist group became fairly well known in Edinburgh, and many more joined them in raising awareness. They were invited to join other campaigns and became really busy. The years of university went by for Sahar, who then founded her own Edinburgh organisation for the protection of the environment. She named it Tabiat, which is the Persian word for nature. Through protecting what she cared for so much, she uncovered a part of her identity. She saw that anywhere with trees and lakes that needed to be protected could be her home and was where she belonged. This is the story of how Sahar found her voice, her passion to protect the environment that is so close to her heart, and how she found her home away from home.